Could humans live on Mars? The real challenges. Imagine waking up tomorrow, not on Earth, but on Mars. No blue sky, no oceans, no birds, no wind in trees. Instead, you see an endless red desert stretching beyond the horizon, silent and empty. The sky is pale, almost dusty, and the sun looks smaller and colder than what you're used to. You step outside your habitat, and you are immediately reminded of one thing. This planet does not want you here. And yet, this is not just science fiction anymore. Humans are actively planning to go to Mars. NASA wants to send astronauts. SpaceX talks about building a city there. Within a few decades, the first humans may set foot on the red planet. But landing on Mars is not the real challenge. The real question is much harder. Could humans actually live on Mars? Or would they only survive there for a short time before everything becomes impossible? To answer that, we need to break down what life on Mars would really look like. Before we even talk about living on Mars, we need to get there, and that alone is already one of the hardest missions in human history. A trip to Mars takes about 6 to 9 months one way using current technology. That means astronauts would spend almost a year inside a spacecraft just to arrive. During that time, they are completely isolated from Earth. No rescue missions, no quick return, no emergency evacuation. Everything they need must be carried with them: food, water, oxygen, medicine, spare parts. And all of it must last for months in deep space. But the physical challenges are only part of the problem. There is also the psychological pressure. Imagine being trapped in a small metallic environment for months, floating through empty space, watching Earth slowly disappear behind you. Every day, you are further from home than any human has ever been. Even the best trained astronauts would face stress, boredom, anxiety, and isolation. And when they finally arrive at Mars, they are not arriving at safety. They are arriving at another life-threatening environment. Mars is often described as the most Earth-like planet in our solar system, but that is misleading. Yes, it has days that are roughly 24 hours long, it has seasons, it has ice, it even has landscapes that resemble deserts on Earth. But in reality, Mars is extremely hostile to human life. The moment you step outside without a spacesuit, you would not survive even a few seconds. Why? Because Mars has almost no breathable atmosphere. The atmosphere is about 95% carbon dioxide. There is almost no oxygen. And the atmospheric pressure is so low that your body cannot function normally. Without protection, your blood would not behave properly. Your lungs would not be able to process anything, and you would lose consciousness extremely quickly. So, living on Mars means you are never truly outside in the way we understand it on Earth. Every step outdoors requires a full life support suit. One of the most dangerous problems on Mars is something you cannot see at all: radiation. On Earth, we are protected by a strong magnetic field and a thick atmosphere. They act like a shield, blocking most harmful radiation from space. Mars does not have that protection. That means constant exposure to cosmic rays and solar radiation. Over time, this radiation can damage DNA, increase cancer risk, affect the brain and nervous system, weaken the immune system. And unlike Earth, there is no safe outdoor environment. Even staying on the surface for long periods is dangerous. Solar storms make the situation even worse. The sun can release massive bursts of radiation that reach Mars directly. So any permanent human base would need serious protection. We are talking about habitats covered in thick layers of Martian soil, or built underground, or heavily shielded with specialized materials. Without that, long-term survival is not possible. Mars is also a world of extreme cold. On a warm day near the equator, temperatures might reach around 20 torrs. But at night, or in other regions, temperatures can drop below -100. In polar regions, it can get even colder. This creates a constant challenge for survival. Everything needs heating: habitats, water systems, electronics, food storage. And because the atmosphere is so thin, heat does not stay trapped like it does on Earth. So, energy management becomes critical. A failure in heating systems could quickly turn deadly. If there is one resource more important than anything else on Mars, it is water. We know water exists on Mars, but not in a form that is easy to use. Most of it is frozen in polar ice caps, trapped underground, or mixed with toxic chemicals in the soil. That means humans cannot simply find water and drink it. It must be extracted, melted, filtered, purified, recycled constantly. And recycling is essential because bringing water from Earth is far too expensive and impractical. On Mars, water would be treated like the most valuable resource imaginable. Every drop matters. Food is another major challenge. At first, Mars colonies would rely on supplies sent from Earth, but long-term survival requires growing food locally. And that is not easy. The soil on Mars, called regolith, is not like Earth soil. It contains toxic chemicals like perchlorates, lacks organic nutrients, does not support natural plant growth. So traditional farming is impossible. Instead, humans would need hydroponic systems, plants grown in water instead of soil, artificial lighting, controlled temperature and humidity, fully sealed indoor farms. In other words, farming on Mars would not look like fields or nature. It would look like a high-tech laboratory filled with plants under artificial light. And even then, efficiency and reliability would be constant concerns. Mars has gravity, but only about 38% of Earth's. At first, this would feel strange but manageable. You would be lighter, you could jump higher, everything would feel easier. But over time, low gravity becomes a serious problem. On Earth, our bodies are adapted to constant gravitational force. Without it, the body begins to weaken. We already see this with astronauts on the International Space Station. Muscles shrink, bones lose density, the heart weakens. Now imagine this happening over months, years, or even a lifetime on Mars. We do not yet fully understand the long-term effects. It could impact physical health, aging, and even the ability to have healthy children. This is still one of the biggest unknowns. Living on Mars is not just a physical challenge, it is also a mental one. Mars is extremely far from Earth. Communication delays can reach up to 20 minutes one way. That means no real-time conversations, no instant support, no immediate help in emergencies. Over time, this creates a deep sense of isolation. A Mars crew would be living in a small group, completely cut off from the rest of humanity. Psychological risks include depression, anxiety, emotional instability, conflicts between crew members. Even carefully selected astronauts would face mental strain, because no matter how advanced the technology is, humans are still social beings designed for Earth. For humans to truly live on Mars, everything must become self-sufficient. A Mars colony would need to produce its own food, recycle air and water continuously, generate energy, likely solar or nuclear, repair equipment locally, manufacture tools and replacement parts. Because Earth is too far away to rely on. If something breaks and cannot be fixed, there is no quick shipment, no emergency backup. This means Mars colonies must be extremely resilient, almost like independent ecosystems, and that is incredibly difficult to achieve. So after all of this, what is the answer? Yes, but only in a very limited and controlled way. Humans will likely visit Mars, build temporary bases, stay for months or even years at a time. But living freely on Mars, like we do on Earth, that is still far away. We are not ready for full independence from Earth, large-scale agriculture, long-term radiation protection, multi-generation life on Mars. Mars is not a second Earth waiting for us. It is a survival environment that forces us to rely entirely on technology just to stay alive. But maybe the most important point is this: Mars is not just a destination, it is a test. A test of engineering, science, endurance, and human psychology. And in trying to live there, we might not just be learning how to survive on another planet. We might be learning what it truly takes for humanity to expand beyond Earth. Because the real question is not only, can humans live on Mars, but also, what will we become if we try?